lovelies! So, right, first off, from the title of the video, don't panic, obviously I am alive and I'm here. So the reason I'm doing this video is because everyone already knows, and the reason for that is basically I had to go to the hospital the other night and it happened in the middle of us doing a live stream on MAG. So if you follow me on any of my social media, or if you were watching that live stream, then you would have known about all of that, and just a lot of people were freaking out and were very concerned, and with the internet everyone's a doctor, so everyone's been trying to like diagnose me themselves even though I was at the hospital for that. So I just wanted to make a video sort of explaining what happened for the people who were worried, and just, you know, putting any sort of like panic or assumptions to rest or whatever. So I'll sort of go over what happened first of all quickly. We were doing the live stream and everything was fine. I think we'd been going for like almost 2 hours. I think it had been going since 10 and it was about 1:45 to midnight. And it was all really chill, you know, everything was, you know, there's nothing special going on. We're just like replying to comments, everything was really relaxed. And then just at one moment I sort of had a pain like just like below my bust essentially, like just sort of like the center of my rib cage. And whenever I got back I read through some of the comments on the live stream and it seemed people thought it was a stomach issue. It wasn't, it was but because where I put my hand, people obviously thought it was my stomach. So yeah, like I got like a sort of pain there and I was like, oh ow, okay, something hurts. And then it kind of started getting worse and I was like, yeah, something's not right. And then it kind of spread the whole way around my rib cage, and it felt like basically like my muscles were collapsing my own rib cage in on my lungs. So it was really painful, but then there was also the issue of like I couldn't breathe properly. Like I wasn't like hyperventilating, I wasn't out of breath the way you would be, you know, if you go for a long run or if you have a panic attack or something. It was just literally like it felt like someone, you know, was squeezing me, so I was having to like try to like really, like I was even like kind of pushing my own muscles to try to open up my lungs because like I can't actually get air in properly. So I was like, right, okay. So I think Jake, they all happened really fast, so I don't really remember exactly what happened. I think Jake asked if I wanted to step out for a minute and I was like, shit, yeah, okay. So I thought maybe like standing up straight would help or like gain some fresh air. So I went to the front door for a minute and it didn't help, and it kept like progressively getting worse. So I was like, right, okay, this really hurts and I can't really breathe. So I was like, okay, I'll go upstairs then, and like went on to Google, but you know, never Google diagnose because that won't help you. But I just looked up like chest pain and tightness to see if there was any sort of explanation as to what it could be. And I kind of found some like article on it, like an NHS website thing, which is like the healthcare system here, and it was, you know, going over different things, and it said, if you have any of the following symptoms, phone 999 for an ambulance. 999 is what we have here. I know America's 911, in the UK it's 999. But yeah, so I saw that and like all the symptoms it was saying to phone an ambulance for were the ones I had, but I was like, right, well I'm not gonna phone an ambulance because I don't want this to just be, I know, sorry, someone's at the door. I don't want this to be an overreaction. I don't want to like phone an ambulance for no reason. So I was like, right, I'll phone the out of hours doctor, which I don't know if everywhere is the same, but here we have like, obviously your usual GP is only open during normal daytime hours, and then there's like an emergency doctor if something, you know, an emergency but not hospital worthy sort of goes on. So I was like, right, well I'll phone them, I'll see what they say. And the way it works with that is you phone up, give all your details, and then like, you know, to the receptionist or whatever, and then a doctor will call you back once they're done with, you know, the current calls or whatever. So first I phoned the wrong one for like the wrong part of Belfast, so I had to hang up that after giving all my details and then phone again, and it was just getting more and more painful, and I was like, Jesus Christ, alright. So then I phoned the correct one and got through, gave all my details to the receptionist or whatever, which was like difficult because I was like, you know, obviously in a lot of pain, like trying to really force some air into my lungs. Just like, you know, really long, big, deep breaths. I was like, just trying to like force my lungs to open up a bit because it did just feel like they were being squeezed shut. So yeah, I phoned and then I was waiting for the doctor to phone me back, and like I think that's when it got like the worst. Like it was so painful that I was like doubled over in the bed and I was like, I cannot wait, I can't wait for this doctor to phone me back, this is so bad. Like, and like, you know, I was like in a lot of pain at that point, but thankfully the doctor phoned me back and I was like, right, okay. So I explained everything that was going on to her and she was kind of like, right, okay. And I was like, oh god, what's happening? She kind of brought up like if I thought it could be anxiety, and I was like, oh no, like I have anxiety, I deal with anxiety a lot, you know, I've had panic attacks, it's like nothing like that at all, this is a like completely very different feeling. And she was like, okay, right, is there any way you could get to a hospital? And I was like, shit, okay, I guess I could get a taxi. And she was like, no, that might take too long. I need you to go now and phone 999 and call an ambulance. And I was like, okay. So at that point I was a bit shaking because I haven't been to hospital since I was, I want to say like 9 or 10, maybe younger, I don't know. I split my chin open, needed stitches, but like even then it was like hours later because I'd been out with my friend and like her parents, who obviously didn't think it was an emergency. So we'd been out for hours, and I got home to my parents, they saw the cut in my chin and were like, holy fuck, you need to go to hospital and get stitches. And I bawled my eyes out because I've never liked hospital. That's the last time I think I was in hospital for anything really. And not once have I ever had to be in an ambulance for myself. I've ridden in an ambulance once when my friend got beaten up and that was it, but I've never had to like phone an ambulance for something that happened to me. So that was like a whole big sort of, I was like, oh Jesus, okay. So meanwhile Jake was still downstairs trying to like, you know, man the live stream. Sorry, someone just came over. Jake was downstairs trying to man the live stream on his own. So I kind of came downstairs. I didn't want to be like dramatic and worry everyone on the thing, like burst in like, phone me an ambulance. So I just kind of like came into the room. I think I was like crying a little bit at this point because it really, really hurt. And also I was like, oh god, I don't want to phone an ambulance. So I just kind of popped my head in around the door and I was like, we need to go to hospital. I think that's like what I said. I don't fully remember what I said because like I said, it all happened very fast. And at this point I was quite flustered. I was like generally calm up until the whole phone the ambulance thing. Now I was like, oh god, okay. But anyway, I popped in and I explained to Jake that we had to go to hospital, and then went out into the hallway and started phoning the ambulance. And like it was just kind of getting worse and worse, and I was starting to feel like really sick and stuff. So I like gave them all the details they needed, and then they asked if I was with anyone, and I said, yeah, you know, my boyfriend's here, so they asked me to put onto him. And meanwhile I went upstairs to try to like get ready because I didn't want to go to the hospital like in my underpants. So, because like on the live stream I wasn't like naked or anything, but I was like in a t-shirt, pants, and I had a blanket over me, so yeah, I needed to go like find clothes or something. And apparently while I was away, the ambulance person had told Jake, keep a close eye on her. If she starts to feel sick or like clammy and cold, then call us back because, you know, it's like really serious. Meanwhile, I was upstairs progressively feeling more and more nauseous, like I was about to puke, and I came downstairs like covered in cold sweat, and I was like, I don't feel well. And he like, Jake was losing his fucking mind. Like, oh, by the way, I haven't been able to get these off yet. They're really bloody sticky. So these are my new fashion accessory, I guess. Yeah, Jake was freaking out worse than I was at this point, like really badly. Like he was talking to me as if I was going to die, which was not helping my whole like worry of the situation. He was like, I'm sorry that I get mad at you sometimes, like things like that. And I was like, oh my god. So yeah, he was like really, really panicking and stuff and like trying to help me like put on trousers and shoes and everything. And like I couldn't even get a jumper on, so I just went to the hospital wrapped in a blanket. But yeah, so he was freaking out and stuff, and he was like, it's okay, you just stay calm. And I was like, you stay calm. So that was like a whole big thing. But yeah, bless him, he was like freaking the fuck out like really badly. So I kind of just sat on the stairs waiting, wrapped in a blanket, for the ambulance to arrive. And I was like, and I was really hoping they wouldn't come down the street with like sirens and lights blaring, because I'm sure my neighbours would all be out looking at fucking midnight trying to see what's going on. But thankfully they just kind of came down quietly and tootled on into the ambulance. So they hooked me up to like a million different wires and everything else. I don't know, I think it was like some sort of ECG, like these were one of the things that I was hooked up to, and I can't remember where the rest were. And I had like a thing on my finger and like a blood pressure cuff, so I was all hooked up anyway. And they just asked me like loads and loads and loads and loads of questions about like absolutely everything. So you don't need to leave questions asking me like, did this happen, did that happen, because I guarantee you the ambulance, the like 3 nurses and the doctor I saw asked me all the questions there were to be asked. So yeah, he just asked me loads of questions and filled out loads of forms and stuff, and I just kind of sat there still trying to like, you know, fight off the like rib cage squeezing my lungs shut. So yeah, that was all going on. Meanwhile, everyone who'd been on the live stream was freaking out, tweeting me, asking if I was okay. So I was like, yeah, just waiting for the ambulance now, I'll keep you updated. forgetting that that tweets out to everyone and also shares to my Facebook, so then the people who don't watch the live stream were like, wait, what's happening? Like, if you go on the Facebook page, it's like a tweet saying like, live now, come chat, and the next thing is just wait for the ambulance, we'll keep you updated. So that all went on, and like Jake was, you know, sort of tweeting people as well, because everyone was like kind of panicking. So yeah, like they went to like a really, really far away hospital. I'm not really sure why. My friend said it might be because if they thought it was anything to do with my heart, then like the hospital we went to has like a specialised cardiovascular unit or something, but I thought it was really weird because there's a hospital pretty close to here and they took us to pretty much the furthest one away in Belfast, and I was like, okay, well it's just, well, I'm not dying then. I never really thought it was anything to do with my heart because it didn't feel like localised enough. It was just like my whole rib cage and even eventually like around my back and everything was just so painful and tight and just I couldn't breathe, so I didn't have a clue what was going on. So yeah, we got to the hospital, got out of the ambulance, and they were like waiting there for like with a wheelchair for me, and I was like, I kind of just wanted to walk because I felt a bit silly, like wrapped in a blanket and everything, but like they made me sit in the wheelchair and then the guy just kind of like dragged me along behind him through the hospital corridors, and like with Jake panicking, talking to me like I was going to be dying or something. I'd been crying, so I had like eyeliner down to my chin, which I didn't know at this point. So I was just being dragged through the hospital corridors with all these people looking at me, and I was like, oh Jesus. So we got into like the little, we went to a few places in the hospital and eventually ended up in like one sort of area, and the first nurse brought me in, and let me try to remember who did what. I think the first nurse just asked me a whole bunch of questions and filled out some sort of form and then gave that to us and sent us back out. And then another nurse brought me in and wouldn't let Jake come in. She was like, no, just you. Like the nurses there were like quite clearly done with everyone's bullshit, because they were like, you know, drunk people who'd been in fights, and like there was a guy there who had like a policeman holding either one of his arms with handcuffs on and stuff. Like it was a bit mental. But yeah, so the nurses there weren't super friendly, but I imagine they were just kind of done with everyone's bullshit, so like she didn't let Jake come in, and I was like, huh. So had to go off my own, and I got another ECG, like a more in-depth one, so I had like sticky things on my hands, my feet, like here and here, and then like the whole way sort of around this boob, like, you know, in the heart area, and I'm not sure where else. I was covered in sticky things anyway and all hooked up. So she did another ECG thing. I assume the first one was ECG. I don't know what these are for. I was just hooked up to machines. She did that, another blood pressure thing, and took like a bunch of blood from me. And like she was asking if I've had blood taken before and stuff, and like if I'm a fainter, and I was like, no, I don't particularly like the needles, but I'm fine. So all that was done, and I was sent out again, and we were waiting for quite a long time. I assume the blood results must have taken a while to come back because we were just sitting out in the waiting room for ages, and I was in agony. And I think by the time eventually like a doctor rather than a nurse called me in, by that time like the pain had started to go down and I could sort of breathe again. So after that I was just feeling really sick still, but most of it had kind of calmed down. So we went into the doctor, and he seemed concerned, but he didn't actually have a clue what was wrong. No one figured out what was wrong with me, and I still don't know. So just, I'm gonna throw out things it's not, because everyone was leaving comments and it was driving me crazy. Like so many people were like, oh, that sounds like a panic attack. Yeah, you're just having a panic attack. I've had that before. And I was like, it was 100% not a panic attack. I can tell you that for absolute fact. Not only have I had panic attacks and I know what panic attacks are like, and that was not a panic attack, the doctors also agreed it was not a panic attack. It was very different. So no, not a panic attack. It also didn't seem to be anything to do with my heart. That's the only thing they found was like, I think in my like ECG or something, there was like a mild like little blip or two or something. There was something slightly irregular with my heart thing, but it wasn't anything to worry about, and it certainly wouldn't be anything that would have caused that. So all my blood tests and organ work came back absolutely fine. So yeah, it wasn't anything to do like that. Someone in the live stream comments kept saying, I bet she's pregnant. No, thank you for that. No, she's not pregnant, and I don't know how being pregnant would cause quite that reaction, so thanks. So yeah, not a panic attack, not pregnant. It wasn't an asthma attack. I don't have any asthma, and it wasn't anything to do with that. Nothing to do with my heart. What else did people think? Not an allergic reaction either. I'm not allergic to anything that we know of, and the doctor kind of went over all of that, so it didn't seem to be that. we just don't know what happened. So it was concerned it might be my gallbladder, so I got like an ultrasound like up around like my chest and rib cage and stuff as well, with like the gross cold jelly. I've never had one of those before, so I was like, ew. And I didn't realise like a blob was on my t-shirt, so then whenever I left and put my t-shirt back down, it was like on my belly, and I was like, ah! So unpleasant. But yeah, so we did the ultrasound. He asked a whole bunch more questions, and like asked Jake questions and everything like that, and we just don't really know what happened. So he seemed like a little bit worried, but like, you know, obviously he couldn't find anything, so he was like, right, okay, we just want you to keep a really close eye on it, and if it happens again, then come straight back and we're going to put you into like actual hospital, not just A&E, because obviously like in full-blown hospital they can do a lot more in-depth tests and stuff. But like I said, they gave me like a pretty rigorous testing of a lot of things and nothing came back, and I haven't had really the same issue since, so I'm hoping it was just a freak event. Since then I've just been feeling tired and like still quite sick on and off, but I haven't really had like the whole, like the main issue. Like every now and again I get like a little bit of chest pain and I'm like, don't do it. And thankfully it hasn't yet. So yeah, that's what happened. You guys really don't need to leave suggestions of what it could have been in the comments, because like I said, I've had plenty of people trying to diagnose me over the past few, like, while, ever since it happened on Sunday night there. No more of that. Like I said, you know, I think if there was anything particularly obvious that would have caused it, the doctors would have found it. Believe me when I say they did a lot of tests and asked a lot of questions. So for now, I'm not too worried. If it happens again, you know, we'll deal with it when it happens, but I am assuming it was just my body being a dick and just throwing a bit of a fit, you know? Everyone was happy, having a good live stream time, and my body was like, do you know what'd be fun? So yeah, that was what happened. Hopefully that makes, like, puts people's minds at rest. I'm fine, and I likely will be fine. And that is the story of my first ambulance ride to the hospital for something that was actually, you know, mine. Jake is okay now as well. The whole time we're in the hospital, bless him, he's like holding my hand, like cuddling me and like talking about all the things that we were going to do, as, you know, as if some sort of reassurance that I wasn't going to die. And I was like, okay. But bless him, he's a warrior. So yeah, everything's fine now, and hopefully nothing happens again. I imagine it, I don't know if it was like maybe like some sort of really bad muscle cramp. Like, I've never had a muscle cramp that lasted like 3 or 4 hours before, but it was just like such bad pain, and it really did feel like something was squeezing down on my chest. So I don't know if just all the muscles in that area just spasmed for a long time or what, but we don't know. We just don't know. So if it doesn't happen again, we'll never know, but I just, honestly, like the whole time I was in the hospital, I was just so worried, because I was really torn between, please don't let it be something serious, and also, please don't let it be something silly, because then everyone here is going to be angry that I phoned an ambulance for something stupid. So we don't know what it was, so I didn't get in trouble. And the doctor was very nice. The nurses were kind of scary and made me really, really worried, but the doctor was like absolutely lovely, so that made me feel better. So yeah. I hope I didn't panic anyone too much. I hope everyone is doing better than I was. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. Check out my gaming channel and my Patreon if you wouldn't mind. And I'll see you in my next video. Thanks lovelies, bye!